Welcome to the Unstuck Career Podcast with your host, Ken Williams. Each week, we move along your path to possibility so you can finally have the life you want. Let's learn how to deal with people you never wanted to be friends with together so you can become unstuck and unstoppable in your career and life. And welcome back to another episode of the Unstuck Career Podcast. With me, I have an amazing guest this time. This is Shiraz. And I wanted to, first of all, let me explain how I met Shiraz. Shiraz, you can see if you're watching the video, he has the most amazing bookcase. But one of the things that Shiraz does is he has a gift of helping people recognize their blocks, their roadblocks, their bottlenecks, what's holding them back. And New Year's Eve, I remember I was on a call with you where you helped me recognize something for myself, and the video's on YouTube, so you can go find it. But the thing that was really interesting for me is how much of an impact other people's opinions were having in my life. And so A, thank you for being here, for being part of the podcast. And B, this is something you've been doing for a while.
Yes.
How widespread is it that we worry about what other people think?
Oh, like 95% of the world plus. Wor- They're just, everyone worries. And the crazy thing is you're worrying what all these people are going to think of you. And meanwhile, they're standing there worrying about what you think of them.
Right.
And most people don't realize that that's just the experience for most of the world. And everyone's just concerned. And when you realize that and you stop doing it, then you get so much freedom in your life. And one of the ways I phrase it that makes people really click in is I say, well, are you worried whether people will approve of you if you do this? So it could be succeed in business, or go do the thing you love rather than the thing everyone expects you to do. And they're like, yeah, I really worry about that. So you've given complete control of your life to those people. They're like, wait, what? If you're worried about it, then now they control your life. You don't. Is that what you want to keep doing?
Yeah. Because
So,
for me, one of the things I noticed in myself is that I was a super image conscious person, that I would not step out of the house if I didn't have my hair just right, or if I didn't look, um, one example is that when I was in a management role, for example, we're supposed to dress in business casual, whatever
yeah.
that is. And I would always dress a step above. So instead of khakis, I'd be wearing slacks. And in an industrial environment, I went through a lot of pants, ruined them all. But that was 100% because I wanted other people to see me a certain way.
Yeah.
So where does this voice come from?
So this comes from what you've heard from your parents, what you've heard from teachers, from friends, and you lock on to prevailing beliefs that you feel will work for you. Right.
Okay.
So even with the clothes thing, there's two approaches. There is, I have to worry what people think of me. I have to look a certain way, which is where they have control.
Right.
There is, I'm going to dress this way because I know strategically it will get me noticed or get me sales, which is not caring what people think of you. That's just, I'm being strategic in my business or in my life.
Right.
Right. So the same action can come from different beliefs. The results will be dependent on those beliefs.
Right.
Right. And a lot of people don't get that. That's why two people can set up the same business on opposite corners of the street. So they're in the same location, same traffic, they have the same budget. And one that's functioning from worry, his business is going to fail. And the one that's functioning from confidence and strategy, like her business will succeed. So it all, like, most people don't realize that these underlying thoughts control outcomes. It's not just, oh, I feel worried when I'm doing it. That worry affects results.
Right. And it seems illogical, but we see it all the time.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that you have found have helped? Because that voice is not going to go away, at
Mhm.
least in my experience. That voice is still there. I still hear my mom, for example, saying, are you sure what you want to wear that shirt outside or whatever? What do we do to tame those voices so that we can not let them control us?
Okay. So first of all, that voice can go away.
Okay.
With training your brain, those voices will get quieter and eventually get replaced by voices that say, "You got this,
Hmm.
right? This is going to be amazing." Like, and just these voices where it's full of love for you instead of worry about everyone else, what everyone else thinks.
Right. Okay.
It is like going to the gym. If you want to be at a bodybuilder level for this, where all your thoughts are positive and empowering, there's daily workouts to go through to
Mm,
get there. And then once you get there, you can't just say, now I don't have to do the workouts, because just like being bodybuilder, if you stop working out, it goes down because you're this constant noise coming from our environment all the time, right?
right.
So it is something that you have to do once you get to that level, it's just maintenance,
Right.
right?
So, and you used to be a bodybuilder, so you
I
know
used to
what
be
you're
a
talking
bodybuilder.
about.
Oh yeah.
So maintenance, how long does it take to quiet those voices?
Depending on the person, it could take months or it can take years.
Okay.
And the average is, if you're doing this consistently, say spending about half hour a day working on your mindset, then you can get there in about 8 months to a year, right? To just you'll not to get the mastery, but to feel like I'm thinking differently. I feel better about myself. I'm worrying less,
Yeah.
right? And like I've heard some people go, "Oh my God, 8 months! I want this like next week." Like, but you have to be willing to put in the effort,
Right.
right? So that's just the thing. But you can absolutely, because what you're doing is you're changing the neural pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
And once those new pathways are set up, they're locked in there until you make a conscious effort to change them again.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It's not, in my case, it's been 50 plus years that I've been ingraining specific neural pathways. And so switching that into something a little bit different is not going to happen in a weekend.
Yes and no. Okay.
Okay.
So think of it like a Jenga tower,
Uh-huh.
right? So you've got all these blocks, and when you're starting these exercises, you're pulling blocks out, and your goal in this case is to actually make the tower fall. But this tower does not want to fall. When you start doing the work, sometimes you can get to key beliefs that need to be shifted, key mindset changes that are right at the bottom of the tower.
Mm,
And you pull those out, and the entire tower topples, and you feel completely different. And this can happen overnight. It's the same thing like when I had rheumatoid arthritis, 18 years, it was all the Jenga blocks were based on a specific belief. We pulled that out. My arthritis went away overnight.
wow.
Right. And this can happen with illness. This can happen with relationships. This can happen with success, wealth. However, that's not the norm. You have to be willing to go through that 8 months to a year of work to get there. And case in point, with me, the arthritis went away overnight. Rebuilding my body from all the damage that was done is taking years. And I'm happily going through it because I'm constantly seeing improvement.
Right.
Right. With my business, there have been points where there was a shift in the way I thought, and my business just jumped. Like I did one shift and my business doubled in a year.
Wow.
And I was already at the 100,000. So it was like, that was a lot of money that just came in over the next year.
Right.
However, then there's other points where it's just like, oh, and then it's slowly building up, right? As shifts are happening, as my mindset changes. And I'm happy for either result because it's all progress
Right.
to where I want to go. Back.
So is those beliefs that cause the tower to topple, are those connected to our identity? Is that
Yes,
okay?
absolutely. Because what happens is we build this identity in the form of this tower. And
Mm,
for the most part, it is to stay safe. Your mind is trying to protect you, and it's
right.
trying to protect you from emotional distress.
Right.
Right. So worrying about what other people think of you. Well, if they hate me, I'm going to feel bad. That's emotional distress.
Yeah.
When you get to a space of, oh, I don't care what people think of me, then when they say I hate you, you're like, well, thank you for that. Let's move on.
That's
No
right.
emotional distress.
It's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Yeah. And and here's the big secret is a person in a place of high self-esteem doesn't treat other people badly.
Right.
So if someone is in this place of you suck, like there's a difference between criticism, like what you just did, you know, wasn't effective or could possibly hurt people, then it's like that's information you can use.
Mm.
But you suck is not information you can use. That's all
Right.
judgment, right?
Right.
And so those people are hurting.
Right.
There's something in them so that they have to say that so they can feel better about themselves. And when
Yeah.
you get that negative thing that's based in emotion is all about them and nothing to do with you, then
Yeah.
you start thinking differently. Because if someone comes up to me and goes, Shiraz, I just don't like you. I think you're a bad person.
Mm.
Then it's just like my mind goes to, I wonder who hurt you,
Right.
right? Because like that wasn't constructive at all. That was just you expressing emotions.
Right.
If someone comes up and says, Shiraz, what you did was just insulting to that person, you should probably apologize. I'm like, oh, was it? How could it? And then I'm going to take in more information because now it's a place of construction, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I actually had one person, I was introducing myself to someone at an event, and I held up my hand to say hi, and he looks at me and goes, oh, you wore a suit. And I'm like, yeah, I did. We're at a place, we're networking. He goes, yeah, I mean, like you impressing people by wearing a suit. And I'm like, you're wearing a suit because he had a jacket on. He goes, yeah, but I got jeans on.
Mm.
And then I realized, oh, you're intimidated by me. Okay. I need to take the jacket off to make you feel better. Like I didn't say this out loud. I'm just like, I can tell you're intimidated. And so you're trying to put me down so you feel better about how you're looking. So I was just like, well, do I? And the conversation in my head it was very quickly, but do I need to comfort this person to make him feel better? Do I just let him sit there in that discomfort of being around me? Do I want to walk away and just have a conversation with someone else? But it wasn't about, oh my God, I need to change. It's what's my next action so this guy doesn't feel so uncomfortable.
I like it. So you actually brought up that I want to just touch on for a minute, and I want to be sensitive to your time as well. But I've heard you tell a story about how you frequently got stopped at border crossings
Yes.
and how that was you discovered something you were creating.
Mhm.
And you talked about how our beliefs affect our results.
Yes.
And it's so easy, I think, for people who are not familiar with this concept to dismiss that completely and say the fact that I believe A does not affect my results. And so if you would just share that experience, which I think is evidence that your belief absolutely affects your results. Um, and then
Yeah.
because I think it's clear that the way you were creating this experience of being stopped at border crossings is a perfect example of how that works.
So I started getting stopped at borders around the age of 20 when I got back from a trip with my friends to Rio de Janeiro. And when they stopped me, I was with several friends. They stopped me and not my friends. And I was black and my friends were white. So I'm
Mm.
like, oh, this is a racist thing. And then I kept getting stopped at borders over and over when I was driving across the Canada-US border, when I was flying, when I was on the Eurail. And it was funny because there'd be white people around me and they're not getting stopped and I'm getting stopped. There'd be white people with me. And I remember my friend, we were driving across the border and we got stopped and asked all these questions. He goes, I never get stopped. I'm like, you're never with me. Welcome to my life. Right? And I even got a couple of the border guards to admit, yeah, well, they told us to check the black people. So I had evidence that this is all about race.
Right.
And then finally I was talking to one of my mentors about it, and he said, well, no, Shiraz is just a story. And that's how I deal with people. It's just, let's see what your stories are so we can pull them apart and make them go away.
Mhm.
And my mentor told me that. And I'm like, this is not a story. This is real. This is racism, right? I've got evidence. I got people to admit it. Like, this is a
Mhm.
real thing. And he goes, no, Shiraz, if it was racism, you would not be getting jobs because you're black. You'd be getting stopped in traffic because you're black. Like there's all these things that happen to black people because of race. None of them are happening to you. You're
Right.
only getting stopped at borders. That's a
Yeah.
story. That's something you're actively creating. And I said, but every story someone creates, even though we think it's bad, always has a benefit.
Right.
right? And I don't see any benefit to this. I'm getting delayed. I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting humiliated. I'm losing money. My ambitions are coming down. I'm losing my self-esteem. And then he looks at me and goes, Shiraz, when you tell your border crossing stories to people, you light up. You
Mhm.
feed off their emotional reaction to you. It feels like love to you. And you can't keep telling the same story over again because they'll get bored. So you have to keep getting stopped at borders so you have new material so you can keep getting love.
Right.
And I was just like, oh my God. And and he was right. So this wasn't about racism. This wasn't about addiction to people's reactions. I was creating struggle. And a lot of people are doing this and don't realize because if you're struggling and you're struggling, people say, don't worry, we got you. We support you. We're cheering you on. We know you're going to do well. But you continue to struggle. It's because you're now addicted to that love they're giving you. And your mind is saying, if we suddenly succeed, we're not going to lose all that.
Mm.
Let's stick with what works. And so you unconsciously sabotage your efforts to stay in struggle so you can keep getting love because your mind doesn't care about your physical results. It cares about your emotional results.
Right.
All right.
I,
So I've made a decision. I'm going to get my love from success, not from struggle. And I stopped getting stopped at borders. It just went away. I've never been stopped since.
it's incredible. So I love that. I love that example. I love it every time I hear you tell it because I think every time you tell it, I recognize one more area of my life where I'm creating my own struggle. And so thank you for that. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for your willingness to chat with us on the podcast. If people want to learn more about you, what's the best way to connect with you?
You can just go to energeticmagic.com. It's energetic magic up there. And you can contact me through email. You can come to one of my free events. So you can see what else is going on. It's all there.
I love it. Thank you so much. Your events have been the ones that I've been to have been fantastic. Your stuff is just
Thank
an
you.
incredible way to um, think differently about um, everything that I thought was true. I'm realizing it's not true. It's not true the way that I imagined it was. So thanks again. Thank you so much. And
Oh,
we will talk to y'all next week.
sounds good.
Get back to the work you love, where you face less stress, gain more happiness, and live into your purpose. Let me help you become unstuck and unstoppable so you can finally have the life you want. Head over to my website to connect with me at kenwilliamscoaching.com.